EPCAD, February 20th at 5 p.m. I'm going to call roll. Albert Molina. Edward Mena.
Here. Present.
Chuck.
Here.
Maurice Sears.
Here.
David Stone. Walter Miller. Miller's not going to be here today. Sam Trimble.
Present.
All right. We may please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
So we have some employee recognitions today.
Yes, sir, we do. First of all, I would like to do a recommend. I would love to recommend this person. I'd like to recognize Ms. Gabrielle Melendez. She was awarded the 2019 El Paso Society for Human Resources Management Professional of the Year here in the County of El Paso. Ms. Gabby.
Wow.
So I wanted her to be able to be recognized to the board. Not only that, she also has been asked to be on their board of directors. So, this was the plaque that they gave her. If you would like to get a picture with her with the plaque, I think that would be great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We're very excited. This is a first for us, so we are very excited. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Got a couple more. Don't sit down yet. We started 3 years ago an Employee of the Year. We have an Employee of the Month. The managers will nominate somebody every month. And then at the end of the year, we put all the nominees in there, whether they got Employee of the Month or not, if they were nominated. And then we have a drawing. And so our Employee of the Year this year is a wonderful lady by the name of Dayanara Ortega. You want to give her that? Day, are you here? Appraisal Review Board Department, and she's been around for about 9 years, 9 or 10 years. So she's a great employee. We're very excited that she's the Employee of the Year. She already got her 20 years, but she didn't get an opportunity to come up and have a picture taken with the board. She's been here 20 years. She started as a clerk in our central records and phone bank, and she is now one of our lead appraisers and handles commercial properties and trains commercial appraisers. So we wanted to be able to give her the opportunity to be recognized in front of the board and to have her picture taken.
I wish. Early 20s.
Well, plus with her and Dave, we wanted to see them dressed up. So this is. The other two that we have on the agenda had already been recognized and had their picture last month. We just did not remove their names, and I apologize for that. I would also like to take this opportunity, since we're doing recognitions, we do have a new employee, Mr. Carlos Martinez. He is in our HR department. He's an HR team leader. We brought him on board. We stole him from TCDRS.
Right.
And so we're very excited. Okay.
So let's move over to public comment.
Mr. Chairman, there's no one signed up for public comment.
Okay. approval of minutes from the January 16th, 2020 meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes of January 16th, 2020 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All opposed?
Aye. Or, sorry.
Everyone approve?
Yes, sir.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, discussion and possible action regarding 2018-2019 financial audit.
Yes, sir. This is an outside independent audit. Pinion Associates does this audit. They start end of October, November. We received the audit. You will have this on your desk. Ms. Teresa Jo Maley is here from the auditing firm to go over it with you. Ms. Maley, if you'd like to come up to the podium. She was here last year and presented the audit also, so she's used to us.
Over. Okay, the first thing I want to go over is the 5-year plan, or the 5-year analysis. It shows the current year plus the prior 4 years.
What page is that on?
It's just a.
It's your
a
very
insert.
first insert. Looks like
Insert.
this.
Yeah, it looks like this.
It's right.
I took it out, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If I may for a minute, for the new board members, appraisal districts are not allowed to carry over funds unless they are encumbered for a specific purpose the month before the budget begins. The only thing we have encumbered right now is litigation, and you've already told us how much. So any funds that we do not spend, and we are very conscientious about that, go back to the entities in the way of a credit. The entities pay into our budget quarterly. And so anything that's left gets divided into the entities on the same percentage that they pay into our budget. We're not allowed to have a rainy day fund or a savings account. So this is under state law.
Okay, so on the 5-year plan, it shows the current assets and the total assets. And according to this, you have your liquidity is good, and it's always been good. The increase in current assets from 2015 to 2019, it shows the growth in the city and the funding entities. The total pension liability increased to where it was in 2015 and 16, and this is due to the post-retirement benefits. In 2019, we were required to record the actuarial value of the post-retirement benefits, and in the past, this was not required. Also, the net investment income for the last year was 1.1 million, whereas this year it was a loss of 165,000. That's why there's such a difference in the pension liability from last year. Last year it was 576,000, and this year it's 1.3 million. And then your net position, it decreased a little bit by 92,000 from last year. And then we're refunding to the taxing jurisdiction 1.3 million. And for the encumbrance funds, this year you didn't have any encumbered funds for litigation. Okay. And then we'll go on to the big report, the actual financial statement. So on the first page, it's the page 1 after the MD&A. It's the auditor's letter, independent auditor's report. And on this report, it basically says that we've audited the accompanying financial statements for the year ended September 30, 2019, and that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements, and that we're responsible for the expression. We're responsible to express opinions on these financial statements based on our audit. And our opinion is that the financial statements referred to above present fairly, which means that we're giving you a clean opinion, and that we didn't find any issues with the financials or with the internal controls or compliance, and that Rosa and her staff, they did a very good job with the accounting, and we didn't make any adjusting entries other than those required by the pension plan. then if you go over to the budget, which is on page 27,
This is the same report that we sent to the board members about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. So it has gone out.
Page 27.
page 27. And on page 27, there's the total revenue and other sources. It shows that y'all actually had the actual was over the budgeted amount, and it increased by 154,000. And this is due to the investment income and the rendition. I'm
fees.
sorry, the rendition received.
If the board remembers, we started in a program with the county on the VIT, the vehicle, and I gave you a report last month of how much we had earned up to date. So that's included in this.
Okay, and then on the expenditures, most of the expenditures for the year were under budgeted, the budgeted amounts. There were a few exceptions, like the seminars and conferences was over a little bit, and the appraisal review board was over, and the legal fees. But the legal fees were covered with the prior year encumbered funds.
Those do roll over, right? The legal fees?
Yes.
Yes, sir. The encumbered funds do
Encumbered funds,
for the
yes.
legal fees. Yes, that rolls over. The board will come to the board in September, as we did last September, to see if they want to add to it, subtract from it, what they want to do with it. We come to the board every September on that encumbered fund, but then you give us directions as to roll it over, increase it. I think we increased it a little bit in September.
Because it wasn't too bad. It was only 12,000, right? Is that right? Legal fees. I'm
The
sorry.
Legal
fees
fees
was
were 97.
97.
Yes, sir. At 1 year, we had less than 300,000 left. So legal fees are quite high. When we go through the budget in April, the budget workshop, we'll go into a little more detail on that.
Okay, so then on page 32 is a comparison of the expenditures from this year and last year. And they all seem pretty much in line with what they were last year. Oops, sorry. And then on page 33, it shows the amount that's due to the taxing jurisdictions of the 1.39 million.
And you divvy up the funds evenly or according to?
It's according to the percentage that the entity pays into our budget. An example would be, say,
It's
for
like a
Socorro
proration of
ISD.
it?
Yes, sir. Say, for an example, Socorro ISD, you pay 11.64 into it, so 11.64 gets back. And it is in
I'm
there.
sorry. I see it.
I had it just in case.
I got you.
Okay, and then that's it for the financial statements. And then on the investment policy, there were new changes to the investment policy this year, so it's still in compliance. And if you have any questions?
I'm hearing you right that there were no findings, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. Yay.
Good job. Yeah.
Great job, thank you. So everything's bright and sunny, everything's as good as it
Everything's
looks, because it
perfect,
looks
yes.
very good.
We are meeting all the qualifications and above.
Thank you.
And Rosa does a very good job.
Yeah, I can tell that.
Yes, she
Thank
does.
you very much.
All
And
right.
she,
That's
she's
That's
really good
news.
with getting us the information and when we request it and everything. Any questions?
Possible action?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 2018-2019 financial audit as presented.
And I would like to second that.
I'll do it backwards for sake of doing it correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. And moving on to agenda item number 5.
The investment policy is a policy we put together with our board of directors. The auditors do look at it to make sure we are in compliance with any Gatsby or any federal requirements. There was no need for any changes in the investment policy. It's the same policy that the board approved last year. But every year we need to bring it to the board. You also were sent this about 2 weeks ago to review, along with the email on the investment policy. Well, a week and a half ago, something like that. So there is no change to it, but we do need to present it to the board for approval.
I didn't see anything in here about going to Vegas.
I know. Yeah, you know, we left that out.
That was a secret compartment on your computer.
That's one of those. Yeah.
So there's no action on that?
Well, you do need to go ahead and approve it.
Move to approve it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, so moving on to number 6, review and approve financial reports for October 2019 and November 2019.
Right. We, when the fiscal year starts as of October 1, then we don't give a report until after the audit, because we start with the audit and then we're trying to get all of the last invoices and everything paid off. So we normally wait till after the audit and then catch up. So Ms. Goldman has those reports.
Plus, we need to wait because we don't know if something is going to change once, the auditors do their part. Something may change, so we will need to adjust it. In this particular case, nothing changed. They didn't find anything. There were no additional entries that they had to do, so we are good. But now I am presenting October and November, and I am Rosa Goldman, Chief Financial Officer. Good evening. We are presenting October and November 2019, which are the first 2 months of the fiscal year. So the financial report, contains the balance sheet, the report of revenues, expenditures, and changes in cash balance, the investment report, and the note to the financial report. So they are very, very standard, the balance sheet. The report of revenues, expenditures, and changes in cash balance shows you what we spent for the month and then the year-to-date. And then we kind of compare it to the year-to-date budget, what we felt that we would have spent as of that month. And then the last column gives you the variance. Are we, on a positive variance or on a negative? And so far, because these are the first 2 months of the year, we are on a positive variance. So we are still, we are okay with the budget. And we are presenting those reports for both months, October and November. The next page has the investment report, and that's also one for October and one for November. And then we have the note to the financial report. And in this section is when we will show you if we are over budget in any account or if anything looks a little bit out of the ordinary. But for these 2 months, we don't have anything out of the ordinary, and we don't have any amounts over budget. We also show you at the bottom the encumbered funds, which we are carrying from last fiscal year of $579,448 is being carried. So far, these 2 months, we didn't use any of that. So on the 2 months, October and November, is the same amount, and it's the same amount as we closed as of 9/30, the fiscal year.
For the information of the board members, the direction of the board has been to use the line item legal services in the budget first, which is at $500,000. Then once we hit that and spend all of that, then we go into the encumbered fund. So you may see a zero balance on the line item, but we still may have money in the encumbered funds. The directions of the board were to use up the amount budgeted first, then go into the encumbered. So that, just to kind of clarify for the new board members.
Are there any questions for me?
Just a silly, that's legal fees. What are the other professional services that you?
Your professional services, we'll go into it a lot of detail in our budget workshop in April, but our professional services are Wardlaw Associates, who do our appraisals for our industrial, like the refinery.
Police
It's
department,
also
police officers?
the police officers. It's also our aerial photography, the pictometry,
Several other things.
Esri, the mapping service that we use with Esri. Those are the professional services.
And that was a good question. It leads right into our next item.
Are there any questions?
I do have a question.
Sure.
On our investment report, it appears to me that we're getting a better interest rate at one financial institution than the other. Any thoughts about,
Well, every single quarter, we go out for bid.
okay, good.
Every single quarter. We
Go out
never
for what?
missed it. We go out for
Go out
bids.
for
yes.
bids to all the banking.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, we have a relationship with several banks, and
Thank
we
you.
ask them
Question answered.
for bids.
yes.
Yeah. And we try to choose the best. And safe also, because the policy says that it has to be
Yes.
safe. Is one of the priorities with our funds. Safety.
Do we want to take any action on this item? Anybody
I
want?
move to approve the financial reports for October 19 and November 19.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
Thank you.
opposed? All passes.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 7,
Okay.
discussion and possible action regarding upgrade to EPCAD security system.
Okay, board members, we all know what has happened in El Paso, and we all know that all of the government entities, the schools, everybody is looking at improving their security systems. We were one of the first in appraisal districts in the state of Texas that hires police officers. We have a police officer on duty every day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. During our hearings, our appraisal review board hearings, we bring in a second one so that we have one on the first floor and one on the second floor that floats between the second and third floor during the hearings. We're always looking to see how we can better our security system. Rick Medina went through a review, did a lot of research, and came up with what they call a shooter detection system that companies are using. A lot of governments are using it, and what it does is if a gun goes off in the building, there is a detection system that will read that and will notify everybody in the building that a gun has gone off and where it's gone off. We have evacuation plans for the employees, and then, of course, any property owners or customers that are here, they take them with them. So we looked through this, and we really like this. It was not in our budget because we, of course, did not know we had the active shooter that we have had. We have had a couple of instances. We had a person that committed a robbery at Bassett and was trying to get away and ran into our building. Luckily, the officer was there and with open arms, grabbed him and stopped him and arrested him. But we're always trying to think, how can we better? We're a very public building. We serve the public more so than pretty much anybody. So we were looking at some other systems. Rick Medina went out to 4 different companies that provide this system, and we have quotes. You have it in your backup, and I believe you got that on Friday of the 3 different companies. We do have representatives here. We have a Mr. Bill Parkinson, who is here from the Shooter Detection Systems. He does it's the Guardian Indoor Active Shooter Detection System. We have Tino Huertas from Stanley Security, and we have Joe Bucaran from Convergent Technologies. These are local folks that have come in here, other than Bill Parkinson. He came from out of town to answer any questions, maybe give you a little presentation, if you would like, as to what this system entails. It doesn't take very long. We have it all set up, I believe, don't we, Bill? If you'd like to see it, it's very interesting.
Sure, we would.
Yeah. You wanna? This is Mr. Bill
We
Parkinson.
would like to see it. Yeah.
Hello, folks. How you doing? So I'm all the way in from Colorado. Came down for the day here. Enjoy your sunshine. This morning I left, it was 6 degrees.
Gonna be on the wall.
It'll be on the
Yeah, I
projected
gotta
on the wall.
turn this on one click, turn the red on one click. I went through some training earlier.
This is Stanley?
Oh no, they yeah, Stanley and ADT.
You're Stanley or ADT?
I'm Bill. I'm
He's-
with Shooter Detection Systems.
Oh, you're Shooter
He's the
Detection.
detective system. The other companies
Oh,
are the
okay.
managers.
Okay.
Yeah.
They utilize this system.
Yeah, they would do my installation and do the wiring, that sort of thing. So
Stanley is who we currently have in our security, building security. we use Stanley.
So is there any hot buttons that some of you may have had before I start? I have a few slides I could take you through, just giving you a general overview.
How accurate is this system? I mean, can somebody like, is it Siamex military? So somebody shoot something, what can there be a false alarm with a big clap or a big door slam?
That's a good question. I have a slide for that. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, here's our founders. Some of those names you folks may know. I'm not going to bore you with some of those details, but we've been around for quite a while. If there's any ex-military in the room, our background is our Boomerang product, which is sniper detection systems. You can see up on the back of the Humvee, it looks like a hat rack on the back. We supply those to the government for overseas, for military, war zones, that sort of thing. We also domestically have them applied at even the White House. So if you guys see Trump talking, he's out in the driveway, you see the little white guard shack in the back, you'll see that hat rack on top. And what that's doing is looking for a supersonic bullet trace coming in. And within 2 seconds, you can tell the troop, the direction it came from, the elevation and distance, all within a couple seconds. And then I know you have some Black Hawk mounted on the bottom of a Black Hawk is tied into the gun controls, that sort of thing. So after Sandy Hook, basically our founder, Chris Connors, said, we're doing all this for the military. Why don't we shrink that technology down into an indoor sensor? And that's what we did. So up at the top, you see we have basically a little box there. It mounts into a double gang box, just like in your house. You have 2 light switches. That's a double gang box. It just goes right in there, the sensor. Mounts up near the ceiling, and then, or in the ceiling looking out into the room. So, and then there's some of our background. Raytheon BBN is our background. BBN is the inventor of the internet. It wasn't Al Gore. I got to laugh on that one. The @ sign on your email address came from BBN and so on. So anyway, so right now, we do a lot of customers. We do government. We do a ton of schools. That's our main thrust, is protect the kids in school districts. Do a lot of that, commercial buildings, government buildings, that sort of thing. And what we typically find right now, the active shooter situation is when something happens, you have to wait for a 911 call to come in. And when that call comes in, it might not be the proper information, or trying for dispatch to get the right information and convey it to the police that are coming in. We call it coming in heavy. That they want all the information in their ear. They don't want to be fumbling around with a phone or anything, and they want it all in their ear. So information's critical. So what we do is, when you think about it, we have a smoke detector for a gunshot. Right now you have smoke detectors in the building. If there's smoke, fire's detected, fire trucks show up. Same thing with ours. So we have a sensor. It even looks like a smoke detector, mounts up, and then when it detects a weapon being fired, it connects into dispatch. However you have it, it calls the cavalry to come in, or in your case, it may notify the police officers that are on site that there was a shot on the 2nd floor, which they may not hear if they're down in the lobby. So shot up here 3 stories up, right where we're at right now. Person down in the lobby, he'd never know, unless a 911 call came in from somebody here, went into dispatch, and then came back to his radio again. Meantime, everything's happening just 2 floors above him. So we're basically automating the process. We're taking the human element out of an active shooter situation. It's just automatic like a smoke detector. Okay? Going back to your question, sir. Okay, so what we do is, we took our military background and squeezed that down to an indoor sensor. So we're looking for the sound patterns off of different caliber weapons. And the folks in here that are shooters that know a little bit, we detect all the way down to a 22 caliber, which is what we designed for. And 22 caliber could ruin your day. I mean, Hinckley shot Reagan with a 22 and so on, and Brady. So we go down to a 22 caliber, and if you guys know weapons, 9s, 40s, 10s, 45s, all the way up into your long guns, which would be considered like your 223s, 5.56 that your SWAT police would be carrying, that sort of thing, and your shotguns, your 12, your 20s, your 410s, that sort of thing, okay? Now, we listen for the sound patterns of a gunshot pattern, just like we do for our Boomerang product. But then, to eliminate false alarms, we look for the infrared flash off the muzzle, which is unique. Okay, so all the years of qualin, I see the muzzle flash. Maybe you guys have seen it, the white, the light flash coming off the muzzle. There's also infrared that comes off the muzzle. So on our sensor, we have infrared sensors on there. So only when we have the sound pattern matching up to an actual gunshot, and we verify that there's an infrared present that's off of the heat signature, off of the muzzle flash, do we send an alarm in to say, I detected something, come in heavy. Okay, so we use dual authentication. So right now, 100% detection, 0 false alarms. We're the only one in the industry that hasn't even anything close to that. On the bottom of the screen too, we're Safety Act certified by Department of Homeland Security for our system. So you guys install a system, it's going to be DHS Safety Act certified, which means you might have access to some funds in a terrorist event, which an active shooter is a terrorist event. You might have some relief available from the federal government. Okay?
Won't detect the silence.
So,
I got you on that one.
no, you're not going to be on that one. Let me explain. So there's really no such thing as a silencer. There's suppressors. So even if I have a silencer on the end, the gun's still going to make a noise. You know, not one of the movies, maybe. It's quiet, but and their guns never run out of bullets too in the movies. But so basically a suppressor. So we can also detect suppressed weapons down to a .22 caliber. And in the United States, you folks remember the Virginia Beach shooting that happened last year, maybe a little bit before that. That person used a .45 caliber suppressed weapon in that shooting. So that's really the only one we've seen, but there's ways to make suppressors out of car oil filters and stuff like that, some hokey stuff. It's highly, highly illegal, but it does silence pattern down, and we're still certified.
Can you pick that up still?
Pick up suppressed weapons, yes. Because we still have the muzzle flash. Even though you're suppressing it, you're still going to have sound patterns that's unique to a gunshot. So like things like firecrackers, if you take, and we regularly test with live fire, SWAT comes in, fires around, but throw firecrackers out there, nothing happens. I've had SWAT in Albuquerque go up on an 8-foot ladder and drop the biggest book in the library on a hard floor to make a crack. So there's a lot of things that sound like a gunshot, you know, that kind of crack noise that you hear. But then a lot of other people too, they've never heard a gunshot in their life. And there may be some people in here who have never heard a gun go off for real. And when you're in a hallway or something like that, even experienced people that shoot, to hear that, it raises the hair on your arms. I mean, it is significantly loud. So typically what people do is they'll tend to dismiss it. Okay, somebody dropped a ladder. Meantime, there's bangs going off. Well, that's a ladder drop or something like that. Meantime, you know, I'm sure you guys may have practiced some drills of run, hide, or fight type thing. You know, and doing some active shooter drills. But if you realize that's a gunshot, which we automate that process, and you don't have to have a human element again interpreting, is that really a gunshot or somebody just dropped a ladder? Meantime, there's somebody in there shooting. You know, that's all eliminated now, all automated. So I cover about 40 feet radius up and down a hallway, and these gentlemen behind me have laid out for you. It comes in on the graphic plan that'll be scanned in for your floor plan, what sensor one's off, so first responders can actually see where the shooter is currently at, the last shot that happened, and basically a breadcrumb trail of what's going on. We also monitor the sensors for their health, send out maintenance alerts, text messages, emails, and what we like to do too is tie into your PA system. So again, somebody comes in the lobby, fires around, and it may be one of your officers firing around at the person coming in. There's been threats, you know, fake bombs with the road flares, that sort of thing, and they may neutralize. But, you know, he takes a shot, and it's his gun, it's the good guy shooting, and our system would still notify authorities, dispatch that, you know, there's a duress situation, come in heavy, that officer might need assistance, might not have time to get on his radio, that sort of thing. So even that's automated. So basically that's kind of what we're doing. And we basically connect up to a network switch, come into our software. And then as the system progresses, we can tie into your video, pop up, you know, the cameras that are in that area, tie into your radios, that sort of thing. What we like to do is tie into the mass notification, maybe a pre-recorded box. These gentlemen can work something up for you maybe. To say, as soon as that round gets fired, everybody in the building comes over the speakers. Gunshot detected, police have been dispatched, and just loop it. Gunshot detected, police have been dispatched. So then you guys know, barricade the doors, I mean, your best safe room in the whole place is the men's room or the ladies' room, believe it or not. Big, solid corridors. Get in there, throw the lock, and wait till first responders come in. So that way everybody knows run, hide, or fight, or whatever. And in some cases, that may deter the shooter too. If he comes in and fires around, all of a sudden hears gunshot detected, police have been dispatched. He's going to realize this is not a soft target. They have a system that just picked me up. So maybe retreat, or if the person's, whacked or whatever, he'll still continue possibly. But that may be enough for a certain percentage of the time to deter that person to leave the building, get the heck out of there, which provides to your guys' safety. Okay. We also have wireless sensors, just some of the mechanics to make it work. And the way to test it, these gentlemen, we could get a handheld tester to test it. So what it does is simulates a gunshot and the infrared flash. But what it does is it doesn't sound to the human ear like a gunshot, because we do a lot of hospital ED areas and stuff like that, where we can't come in on the weekends when there's nobody around and fire an actual gun into a trap or fire blanks. So we have to have a way of doing that when there's people walking down the hall, but they don't physically hear it as a gunshot. So we have that way. The ultimate way is once these guys installed, you bring your local police in, state police or whatever you guys are using, and then El Paso police come in and actually fire a live round. I get a question a lot, have you actually picked up an actual shooter or live round? That's how we test all the time. I mean, the majority of our systems are tested with real guns going off, whatever calibers you choose, fire into a trap, fire blanks, whatever, on a weekend after hours. Okay. Again, we have the Safety Act certification and stuff. We have integration to different video systems, and kind of what it looks like, it's just a double gang box. Looks like another widget up on the wall. A lot of people don't even know what this is. Some of our customers, commercial customers, don't tell their employees actually what it is. Other people bring in TV, crews for some of the schools I do like in Albuquerque area or Denver. They bring in news crews because they want everybody to know they're not a soft target, okay, as a deterrent. So again, it's very inconspicuous, just goes in a double gang box. And if you guys would like, we have a number of YouTube videos. We've been on the Today Show, Wall Street Journal, that sort of thing. Okay. Any other questions you folks have? I know I blasted you with a lot, no pun intended.
Well, we just wanted to give them an understanding of what we're talking about and what we're wanting to put into our building.
Okay. And I've given each person a brochure plus my business card. If you have any questions later on, think just shoot me an email or whatever, I'd be happy to answer it for you. But if there are any other questions.
Okay, board members, if you look in your packet, we did give the 3 quotes that we got back from Stanley Security Systems. It's a total of $60,499.29. From Convergent, it was $59,914.21. Difference of $585. It's very minimal. ADT was $69,610.71. So about $10,000 more. And Tyco Integrated never did get us a quote back.
Excuse me, is there a monthly fee of $340 for?
Right. What this is for, these companies do the installation, the integrating, and then they do the monitoring. So they charge a monthly monitoring fee or an annual monitoring fee. They will also.
Doesn't have one on here though.
The Convergent had an annual support fee, annual license and support fee.
Oh, that's okay.
That $1,400. The monthly fee from Stanley is $340.45. They again they do the monitoring. They are here to answer any questions that you may have of them. Joe Bucaran from Convergent and Tino Huertas from Stanley. I'm going to tell you honestly, both of the companies were fantastic. They came in and gave us a demonstration. They service the system that we were just looking at. Stanley Security Systems is the system we're currently using, and they'll be able to integrate that into our current system, our building security system. So for that reason, that is our recommendation. Yes, sir. Now, here's another thing I need to let the board know. Our budgets are done so far in advance, right? This was not in our budget, in our current budget, because the shooting didn't happen until after our budgets were approved. The security issues that are now being brought up by multiple government entities and schools were not done. I mean, just today at UTEP, they had all of the state representatives and Congressman Escobar talking about security issues and gun control and what we need to do. My proposal to the board is we have a contingency fund of $738,463 that is there for these type of purchases or for emergencies. Being as we're talking about $59 to $61,000, it will not defray our contingency by very much. Contingency, when you were looking at the financial audit that they did, that 1.3 million, that's the contingency fund that we don't spend, that goes back to the entities. What we're asking for, instead of putting this in next year's budget, which means it'll be October of next year before we could implement this system, we're asking to be allowed to take it out of contingency. We feel like it is a security issue. We want to secure our building better. We want to protect the public better, and we feel like we need to step up the plate. Yes, sir, Mr.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Avalos. Sure.
Oh, I wasn't saying, go ahead.
My concern is, I know I left the room, but my concern is I didn't hear any input for the strategy related to the response requirements of the people within the system being secured.
Okay, are you talking about our employees?
Yes, because
Okay, I can
I'm
tell you
quite
that.
certain that there's a lot of training, a whole lot of training that needs to be accomplished.
No, sir, not really. Our employees already receive active shooter training. They already receive training on how to evacuate the building. They've received training on where to go, and their supervisors have received training on how to notify directors that all their employees are out. So that is training that we've already done given to our employees. So they already know where to go. What this will do, will be able to give the employees and anybody in our building. Our employees have also been trained. If they have a property owner with them, they take that property owner with them outside the building. That property owner, so I mean, we have done training. So what this system will do, will give them faster notice that there's a shooting.
Yes.
They
but-
already know what to do. So, and of course, we will continue with the training, and we will have testing and training as the system goes in, and we'll do further training. But our employees have already been trained on how to react.
But I'm familiar with when you are dealing with evacuation, just say. If you're not properly trained, you might evacuate into the path of the shooter.
Right. No, our employees have been trained.
All that has been
Yes,
trained
sir. Yes,
with
sir.
this particular system.
Well, with everything, they've been trained on where to go. What this will allow us to do, because right now we have no way of telling the employees other than somebody going to them and say, there's a shooter on the second floor, get out on the first floor. What this will do is automatically, as soon as that gun goes off, tell them there's a shooter on the second floor, evacuate according to plan. And they'll know faster by this system. And so they will know their evacuation plan that we've already implemented, they'll know
You're
further.
just telling me that they have been trained to do that,
Yes, sir.
and they have been trained to do that at this point
Yes,
with
sir.
this system.
Well, with getting out of here, this system will, they already know where to go and where to meet and how to get out. What this system does gives them a faster notice of where the person is. So they already know, like if somebody comes up in the stairwell, don't go out the stairwell, go someplace else. They already know where to go. They know their alternative exit venues.
We need to get back on to taking possible action. We have several, we're only halfway through. So, does anybody have any questions about the difference in prices between Stanley Security Systems and
I
Conversion?
do. I understand that Stanley's already in place, but they're also going to be charging us about $7,200 a year in yearly fees, where the other company, Convergence, is only $1,400 a year.
Also,
so
Mr. Min, if you'll look at it, Stanley does include the monitoring, and Convergent, the EPCAD staff will have to do its own monitoring.
And it's already built into the current system as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's on the last line of both of those. Monthly
see
fees,
that.
the monitoring system have to be administered by EPCAD staff.
So your staff has analyzed these and you have recommended
Yes, sir.
the Stanley system.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, I move to accept the Stanley security system.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor of approving Stanley Security Systems?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes. Stanley Security System has won the contract. We need to move forward to item number 8.
Board members, Miss Tracy Carter is out ill, and she has a doctor's note that did not allow her to return today. She tried, and I sent her home. She has a bronchial, so she had nothing to really report. She was just going to be here in case the board has any questions. She'll report in March. I felt her health was a lot more than sitting here, so
I believe I would
there will be a report.
move to delete this item.
Do we have to move to delete this item?
I don't think so. It's just a report. There's no action on
Oh,
it.
no action, okay.
No action on item number 8. Let's move to item number 9, please. Report on settled lawsuits.
Board members, did you have the spreadsheet of the lawsuits that had been settled in January? There's actually just 3 lawsuits that were settled. Do you have any questions? I can try to answer whatever questions you might have.
Are there any questions? Is there a question? No questions? Yeah. Okay.
In general, I would have a question. Before I was looking at the line item for expenditures for legal fees, and I understand that. Do you keep a running tally of what our wins cost us? I
Of
mean,
our
our legal
winning?
fees against our
winnings.
winnings, yeah, if you want to call it that.
Our
Probably
settlements.
inappropriate, but.
Well,
but,
I don't, we do, you'll see in there the difference in value and the value lost, but
This is on a month-to-month deal. It's not
It's more goes to more of an evaluation of our legal process or our.
you'll see it in your financial statement. It'll show every month as that amount that's budgeted will go down. It'll show the differences
And I think
in the
too,
financial statement.
you know, that's kind of where this report, and it was much more substantial last time when we went over the last year or something.
Right.
And that's kind of where this came from. And if you look at the last few columns, when you look at the tax value loss or not, and attorney fees and whatnot, that, you know, that's kind of where this came from.
So that kinda
Yeah, we could add another column, I guess.
No, I don't want to.
No, but that's a great question, because isn't that kind of, this is where, like, we
That's where-
began this, right?
Kind of how
Because
you rate the value.
we
of
were
your
trying to
legal-
sit there,
legal.
exactly. We were just
Right. And
deciding.
in your
yeah.
financial statements, when we give you, you'll see how
Shows the
much we've
actual,
spent from
yeah.
month to month, yes.
Since we can't take action, we'll move over to item number 10.
Mr. Chairman, before we go to that item, may I get a clarification on the approval of item number 7? You did approve the Stanley.
Yes.
But could I get a clarification on if we're allowed to take that money out of contingency or if we have to budget it next year?
I move to approve the
I would-
money.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion if you'll amend the second.
Yes, sir. Amended.
So there's a motion, and a second from taking it out of contingency? Is that what you were, okay.
We should do that.
Motion, and second to take it out of contingency. All who approve?
A, yeah,
Aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes to taking it out from contingency.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify that in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Appraisal's Report, item number 10.
Okay, just to kind of give everybody a heads up, As you know, in the January meeting, I did tell you that we were going to be having a mobile unit. We were working with the Consolidated Tax Office to have a mobile unit. We were expanding it from 3 days to 5 days, and they collected almost $3 million in tax payments by us having that mobile unit here for 5 days. I did talk to the Maria Pasillas, the city tax assessor collector. She was very grateful because it eliminated a backlog from downtown. People could come here very central, had the big parking lot, and I will tell you this, we had a line every day. So we were very, very pleased that we were able to help the Consolidated Tax Office. We also hosted last week a 4-day seminar. We worked with United Healthcare, Lisa Barrio Cox. She is a representative of seniors, senior groups through United Healthcare, and we had a 4-day seminar here in our boardroom. We had over 62, 65 attendees, and we explained to these seniors what the appraisal district is, what we offer in the way of homestead exemptions, over 65 exemptions, disabled, deferrals, and we had a very, very nice turnout. Robert Garcia with our HR department set this up and helped me in translating, and we had a very good turnout. We had very good positive comments. One lady said she really didn't want to come. She forced herself to come, and she was so glad she learned so much. So I wanted to let y'all know that. And all of you have this on your desk in front of you. The comptroller's office does 2 reviews of appraisal districts. 1 year they will do a methods and assistance program review, and the next year they'll do a property value survey study on value. So this is the 5th review. They started in 2010 with 2010 legislation. In 2011 was our first one. We have passed every one. This is the latest for 2019. We passed this one 100%. I've given you all of the reports so that you could look at no recommendations whatsoever. We passed all the required sections, which deal with governance, community service, customer service, that type of thing. So I'm very, very proud, and I wanted to recognize our statistics department. Bill Gonzalez is in charge of that. Vilma and Beatrice Medina. They are the statistical department that puts all this together, but they could not do it without the other departments pitching in, so I wanted to thank all of them for responding to their questions. I wanted to let the board know we are doing fantastic according to the state. Well, I don't know, according to us, we're doing fantastic, but the reports are showing that we're doing very well, we're doing our job, we're meeting the laws, we're meeting the requirements. So I'm very, very, very pleased with that. So I wanted to give the board, if you want to look at from 2011 to 2019, you can get online or just ask me and I'll email them to you. We have all the other reports. So, and because of this, our 2019 property value study, they accepted our numbers for 2019. So in 2020, we'll have a property value study.
Very good, very impressive. Yep.
So thank you, board
Great.
members. And that's all I have, unless the board has any questions for me.
Any questions?
No, I'm fine. I was gonna ask something. Is there a way that we can get this in a hard copy, all this, instead of electronically?
Oh, you would like us to mail you or to drop off a hard copy?
Can you do that?
Yes, we
for me?
definitely can.
Because I would like to. I usually sit down with coffee
Of
on
course.
a Saturday morning and just go through everything.
Of course, we'll be happy to have a hand delivered. Just
I guess I'm just
before
old
you
school. I'm sorry.
okay, before you leave, I am too. Before you leave, if you'll let Miss Dina know where you would like it delivered, and we'll make sure that we hand deliver you a packet.
Thank you. so
Yes,
much.
be happy to do that.
Good, good. Would you
Yeah,
like to, could
however
you say
the
that?
board members want to receive it, we'll be happy. No,
Yeah, I'd be happy.
one thing for, especially for the new board members, this financial audit gets sent to all the taxing entities. They get a copy of this, plus we have it available for the public. Okay, so
Sure.
it is transparency.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I say something about
Please.
our MAPS rating? In this is there's 14 questions on governance, and for the new members of the board and the old members of the board, we did a really good job. We got all our boxes checked, and that makes their job somehow easier too. When, you know, everything works well, we attend meetings, we get our budget done, we evaluate our chief appraiser. When our job's done, their job gets done in a more efficient manner too. So I think we all need to,
You need a thank you.
That too.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah.
Because
There's a
believe it
lot
or
of
not,
good board stuff.
we've been dinged on that before, so I'm
Sure.
always very appreciative that the board works with us.
Thank you,
you know,
Mr.
in
Chair.
getting
Okay,
this.
good. Any other last questions? Okay, let's move over to agenda item number 11. Discussion and possible action regarding chief appraiser contract.
All of you received the contract, sent it out in November, gave it again to everybody in January. In January, we extended it 3 months, so, or in November we did. I didn't bring it in January. We had a lot of other things on the table. So I'm bringing it in now, asking for, you know, the same that I asked for before with the 3-year contract and with the changes and to extend. I'm on a current 3-year, or was on a 3-year, and I'd like to keep it going. For contingency with what we're doing, to make sure that we keep going on the same line with our reappraisals and everything, a 3-year just fits into the schedule.
I think you're doing a great job, and I move to approve.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the chief appraiser's contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I need to do that again. One moment, please. Where do I, Mrs. Rose? Okay. So there's a 3-year term from January 1st, 2020 to 31st, 2022. There's a vehicle allowance of $10,000, and there's an expense allowance of $5,000. Do we still have a motion and a second to approve?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes.
Thank you, board members. I appreciate it, and I will continue to make us the shining example of the state of Texas.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My staff is very relieved.
Very good. So we have an executive session item in number 12.
No, sir, we have no executive item. We put that on in case the board ever wants to go into executive
Okay.
session. There is no item.
Number 13, and we have already taken an item, so how do we close?
I move to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Adjourned.
Unanimous.
Unanimous approval
Thank
to
you,
adjourn.
board members.
No problem. Good job.
Fine job.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you state the time that we're adjourning?
The time, I actually can't see that far. The time is 6:04.
6:04.
I'd like to compliment